incredibly proud to welcome you and the Maritime Launch Services Group to the NEO Exchange this morning. You represent a number of firsts for us. Our first space-focused company to go public on our markets. If I'm not mistaken, it's our first East Coast issuer, and honestly, it's an incredibly cool company that tempts the imagination inner child.
Thank you to the NEO for partnering with Maritime Launch and for sharing our passion for growing the space sector in Canada. Today is an exciting day, not just for Maritime Launch, but really for Canada's space sector. Maritime Launch is developing Spaceport Nova Scotia and finally bringing domestic launch, orbital launch capabilities to Canada. The journey to today hasn't been easy, but we believe in what we're doing. Space launch from Canada will certainly have global benefits and implications, but really just as importantly offers real opportunities for industries across Canada. This will not only add to our growing Canadian space sector, but will provide career opportunities for our kids to be able to stay and work in Canada. Domestic launch capabilities in Canada is essential if we want to be in a competitive place with respect to the global space race that's currently underway.
Stephen, I'd like to turn the podium back to you for a short investor pitch, a few words on what brought the company forward to us today, and really a quick view on what investors should be looking for in the short future. And don't worry, we'll welcome you back for a more detailed presentation under a NEO Spotlight banner later on, but today just a short preview of what's to come would be terrific.
A lot of people wonder why Canada, why CANSO? The people of CANSO, when we first went there, wanted to know why CANSO. And it really does have to start with a talk about where the industry is, the commercial space industry and the satellite industry. This really shifted about 10 years ago, a little more with the last launch of the space shuttle, where basically low Earth orbit was ceded to the commercial businesses out there to develop their own satellites, their own launch vehicles, and get into space and do some really unique things with synthetic aperture radar or global broadband, near Earth imaging, all kinds of very unique technologies. And with that shift from government to commercial, there was also this whole phase of commercialization or miniaturization of components in these satellites that took us from these huge satellites that weigh tens of thousands of kilograms to 20, 30, 50, 100 kilograms, where you can get multiples of these into space. So this whole industry has really gone through a shift. It's now currently at $400 billion a year and on a path to reach $1 trillion per year by the year 2040. And if you look at it, the only way these satellite clients can get in their businesses started is to get them from the ground and into space. Step in Spaceport Nova Scotia. We started this initiative in 2016, looking at where people wanted to put their satellites. And arguably, we have the best location in North America because of the range of inclinations. People have gone away from the big equatorial launch platforms to more polar and sun-synchronous platforms where there's dozens and hundreds of satellites, not big geosynchronous satellites. So this location that looks due south to South America and off the coast of Africa with nothing but wide open ocean is perfect, right? That's where all these satellite clients want to put their rockets into space. So we've been fortunate. We have over a dozen letters of intent from satellite clients that want to use our facility. One of them is already signed on for being our first launch customer. We've got a raft, frankly, of launch vehicle candidates that have come to us that want to use our facility with their technologies from Europe, from the US, and even from Canada with launch capabilities. So we're bringing first launch capability to Canada. That's it. I mean, Canada has never been a spacefaring nation in the context of doing orbital launches of satellites into orbit. And that's what this opportunity presents. We've got the best spot, lots of infrastructure in place and ready to go. We're getting set to start construction this summer. So all the pieces are in place really for us to move forward. So you've got the site, you've got the launch vehicles, you've got the satellites, and now it's just a matter of putting those pieces together in a phased approach to launch. So we're looking at doing a phase one small suborbital launch next year with where we are today, building that experience and that collaboration with the federal government, regulatory partners, and then working to an orbital launch and generating revenue with that while we build out in this other phase the rest of the facility for a medium-class launcher. Our goal is to be a medium-class launch facility because that's where the market niche really is. There is a need for a capability of putting dozens of satellites in orbit at a time, 20 or 30 at a time instead of one or two. So a medium launch capability is where our end goal is, and that's where our customers are really interested in getting on our launch manifest to launch from Canada. So that's kind of the backdrop of where we're going, and it certainly has been a long road to get here. Having MaxQ as a ticker speaks to that transition, if you will, and it's the maximum dynamic pressure of a launch vehicle going into space, right? And so at that point, when you're transitioning into space, that's what's called MaxQ. And so the ticker MaxQ, we feel like joining with the NEO here and moving into this next phase. We're at this point where we have plenty of hard work to do ahead of us, but the opportunity is there for us to achieve commercial space launch from Canada.
We look forward to chatting with you again soon. Congratulations.